We have more than ever, yet we feel emptier than ever. Think about it. You have a phone in your pocket that can access all the world's knowledge, summon food to your door in 10 minutes, connect with anyone across the planet instantly, and yet you still lie awake some nights, scrolling through strangers' lives, wondering why yours feels so hollow. We were told this was the dream, that more technology, more convenience, more things would finally make us happy, that success would be a straight line. Graduate, grind, get rich, get stuff, feel complete. But if that were true, wouldn't we be the happiest generation in history? Instead, we're one of the most anxious, depressed, disconnected generations to ever walk the earth. Because what if the entire idea of success, the very thing we've been told to chase our whole lives, was never actually designed to fulfill us? What if it was built to distract us, drain us, and keep us running in circles, always buying, always scrolling, always wanting more? What if success was the biggest scam you were ever sold? See, nobody told you that the game was rigged, that you were being trained, from the moment you could walk, to trade your time for things, your attention for ads, your identity for a lifestyle you never asked for. You were born into a story, and in this story, your worth was measured by what you owned, not who you were. But stories can be rewritten, and the first chapter begins when you finally stop chasing and start questioning. Because real freedom doesn't come from having more, it comes from needing less. Section 1. The Consumer Lie. We were born into, from the first day of school, the path is laid out for you, not by chance, but by design. Study hard, get good grades, go to college, land a decent job. And if you do all those things right, you'll earn the ultimate prize, the ability to buy stuff. Lots of it. That's the promise. Work now, spend later. Grind through your youth so you can collect branded status symbols in your adulthood. It sounds innocent, responsible even. But here's the hidden truth. This isn't just a life plan. It's a carefully crafted consumer training program. Schools teach discipline, sure, but they also teach obedience. They prepare you to be a cog in a machine, one that runs on credit cards and comparison. Cities are designed the same way. Billboards, storefronts, flashy advertisements. Everywhere you look, there's a reminder that you're missing something. Media floods your brain with carefully curated lifestyles. It's not just entertainment, it's indoctrination. Every influencer, every celebrity, every commercial is selling you a version of happiness you can't access unless you swipe, tap, or spend. And it works, because the lie is seamless. It's sold as normal, as progress, as the good life. You don't question it because it's all you've ever known. But when you peel it back, it becomes clear. This wasn't built to make you fulfilled. It was built to keep you consuming. And the more you buy into the lie, the more of your life it quietly steals. Section 2. The dopamine treadmill. Buying something new feels good. There's a rush, a tiny hit of pleasure. You tap place order, and for a few moments, everything feels exciting. Your brain lights up like a pinball machine. Dopamine floods your system. This, you think, is happiness. But then the package arrives. You open it. You try it. You post about it. And within a few hours, maybe even a few minutes, that spark fades. You're already thinking about what to get next. This is the dopamine treadmill. You keep running, but you never arrive. Because that high you felt, it wasn't joy, it was bait. You're not chasing fulfillment, you're chasing a chemical illusion, a fleeting burst of reward that fades almost instantly, leaving you hungry for another hit. New model, new trend, new drop, always something fresh to chase, always just out of reach. The system is brilliant because it doesn't just sell products, it sells promises. Promises that break on delivery. And just like that, you're back where you started. Still scrolling, still searching, still convinced that maybe, just maybe, the next purchase will finally make you feel whole. But it won't, because the treadmill never stops, and the finish line, it was never real. Section 3. Alan Watts and the unwinnable game. Alan Watts once said, "This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now, and instead of calling it work, realize it is play." But modern life has flipped this on its head. We've turned play into performance and work into a desperate chase for financial survival. Watts often described life in the West as a kind of game, one where the rules were never designed to let you win. A rigged casino of expectations. You're told if you work hard enough, sacrifice enough, suffer enough, you'll finally arrive. But the destination keeps moving. You want stability? Great. First get a job, then a better job, then a raise, then a promotion, then a mortgage, then a nicer car, then a safer neighborhood, then private school, then early retirement. And when you get all that, someone else already has more. Newer, shinier, smarter. The truth is, there is no enough, because enough would break the game. You see, if people felt content, they'd stop buying. If they felt grateful, they'd stop scrolling. If they felt present, they'd stop performing. And the economy, this finely tuned machine built on endless desire, can't afford for you to stop. So it keeps you chasing, not just money, but identity, a better you, a richer you, a more attractive you, a more successful you. But none of these versions are real. They're all just avatars designed by marketing teams and sold to you through influencers and algorithms. So we run, faster and faster, chasing what we already have the capacity to feel, but have forgotten how to access. The finish line isn't further away. It doesn't exist. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can stop running and start living. Section 4. What? We trade without realizing. Most people spend the majority of their waking hours working, not to build something meaningful or to follow a passion, but to sustain a lifestyle designed by marketers and algorithms. They wake up, commute, grind through the day, and return home too exhausted to do anything but distract themselves with screens and snacks. It's a loop, a life-sized hamster wheel dressed up in productivity. Here's the part that stings. We're not even working for things we truly love. We work for things that were suggested to us, sponsored into our subconscious. You didn't dream of the $1,200 phone or the subscription box or the designer bag as a kid. You were taught to desire them, and so you trade your time, your only finite resource, for things that lose their shine in a week. You sacrifice creative energy, connection, rest, and freedom for monthly payments. When you really stop and think about it, it's wild. People dedicate the best years of their lives to jobs they hate so they can buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't even like. And when the weekend rolls around, they try to soothe the wound, retail therapy, brunch, scrolling memes in bed for hours, dopamine on demand, weekend therapy, shopping and doom scrolling. It's become our new religion, a cult of distraction. As long as you keep consuming, you don't have to feel. As long as you're stimulated, you don't have to ask, is this what I really want? But beneath it all, there's a quiet ache, a whisper that grows louder when the notifications stop. Something inside you knows, this isn't living, it's just delaying death with deliveries. Section 5. The death of meaningful possessions. There was a time when the things we owned weren't just items, they were companions. A leather wallet passed down from your grandfather, a table that had seen 100 family meals, a coat stitched by hand, worn in storms, and still strong. Possessions had history, they had character, they mattered. Craftsmanship meant something. You could feel the care in the grain of the wood, the stitching of the fabric, the weight of the tool in your hand. These weren't things you replaced. They were things you repaired, maintained, and respected. Because they held more than function. They held memory, Fast forward to now. We live in an age of planned obsolescence, of mass production, of disposable everything. Buy it cheap, use it fast, toss it when it breaks, or more likely, when a newer version comes out. This shift didn't just affect how we treat our stuff. It changed how we see ourselves. When everything around you is temporary, replaceable, and soulless, how long before you start to feel the same way? This emotional detachment from matter seeps into our inner world. We stop seeing the value in patience, in effort, in longevity. Why fix what's broken, whether it's a chair, a relationship, or your own mental health, when you can just start over with something new? But starting over isn't the same as healing, and buying something isn't the same as building something that lasts. The constant churn of objects creates a quiet numbness. You forget how to appreciate what you have because everything feels temporary. And when you lose your connection to the physical world, you start losing your connection to yourself. Section 6. We've forgotten how to wait. We live in a world where patience is obsolete. Everything happens now, or it isn't worth happening. Want food? Delivered in 20 minutes. Need a new phone? Click, swipe, shipped. Craving entertainment? Binge an entire season overnight. Every desire is a demand, and every demand is met instantly. But there's a price. We've forgotten how to wait, and with it, we've forgotten how to appreciate. Slowness, once a virtue, now feels like an inconvenience. We rush through meals, conversations, even sleep, just to squeeze in more productivity or more distractions. Repairing something? Too slow. Better to throw it out and buy new. Resting? Feels like laziness. Better to check email, scroll feeds, stay plugged in. Presence? It's dying. We don't just lose our ability to wait, we lose our ability to feel, to savor, to be grounded. And that shows up in the smallest places. People can't stand in line without checking their phones, can't drive without podcasts, can't even sit in silence without filling it. Even food, something once sacred, has been stripped of its meaning. Meals used to be rituals, slow-cooked, shared, experienced. Now it's protein bars in traffic and reheated leftovers in front of a screen. Family time? Replaced by shared Wi-Fi. Rest? Outsourced to quick naps and energy drinks. We are rushing through life so fast that we've forgotten what it feels like to live inside a moment. And the irony? The faster we go, the more we miss. We used to enjoy the process. Now we only chase the result. But fulfillment doesn't come from reaching the end. It comes from immersing in the middle. The art of waiting is the art of presence. It's the space where creativity lives, where connection grows, where memory forms. And when we eliminate that space, we eliminate the depth of our experience. You can't microwave meaning. You can't fast-track fulfillment. And if you try to shortcut every process, you end up shortcutting your own life. What's left is a blur, a highlight reel without a story, a life that's efficient, but empty. To slow down is not to fall behind, it's to return, to reawaken the part of you that still remembers how to feel wonder, how to taste food, how to listen without distraction, and how to be truly alive. Waiting, it turns out, was never the problem. Forgetting how to wait, that's what's been quietly erasing our lives. To value something is to care for it, to maintain it, to understand its place in your life. When everything becomes throwaway, you risk becoming throwaway too. Section 7. Leisure isn't leisure anymore. We used to play, not perform, not compete, just play. We'd lose ourselves in hours of imagination, movement, exploration, without needing a reason or a reward. That was leisure, that was freedom, and, more importantly, that was presence. Now, leisure looks a lot different. Now it's about binge watching, fast scrolling, and endlessly refreshing feeds. We don't unwind, we dissociate. We don't create. We consume. We aren't present. We're plugged in. The screen has become the new playground, but it doesn't play back. It doesn't challenge us to build, to imagine, to engage. It just feeds us more of the same, tailored to keep us there, eyes glazed, dopamine on drip. True leisure sparks curiosity. It recharges us. It connects us with others and ourselves. It asks us to engage our minds, our bodies, our attention. Whether it's writing, painting, gardening, playing an instrument, walking without purpose, real leisure is active, not passive. It leaves us feeling nourished, not numbed. Modern leisure, by contrast, often feels like an escape room with no exit. You dive into TikTok for just 5 minutes and resurface an hour later, drained. You watch 3 episodes of a show and realize you don't even remember what happened in the second one. You scroll through thousands of images, yet feel more disconnected from your own life than before. This isn't leisure. This is sedation. And the danger is subtle. Because we think we're relaxing, when really, we're avoiding. We're dodging boredom, pain, emptiness. We're using screens the way we used to use silence, as a space to recharge. But the screen demands nothing and gives even less. When everything becomes passive, we become passive. When our fun is fed to us through algorithms, we forget how to generate it ourselves. You don't need to earn rest, but you do need to reclaim it. Real leisure doesn't leave you feeling like time disappeared. It leaves you feeling like time was well spent. So try this. Next time you have a free hour, don't scroll. Make something. Move your body. Sit in nature. Play an instrument badly. Sketch a silly picture. Bake bread. Call someone. Do anything that asks something of you. Because true leisure doesn't numb you. It reminds you that you're alive. Section 8. The Quiet Uprising. Choosing a slower life. Not everyone's playing the speed game. In quiet corners of the world, remote, villages, small communities, even pockets within fast-paced cities, there are people who've chosen something else, not because they hate progress, but because they've realized that faster doesn't mean better and more doesn't mean richer. These people don't chase trends, they craft lives built on care, attention, and intention. They cook from scratch, not for Instagram, but for flavor. They fix their clothes, mend their tools, and pass down what matters instead of replacing it. Their wealth isn't in what they own. It's in what they notice, what they feel, how deeply they're rooted in their own lives. To an outsider, it might look like these people have less, but spend a day with them and you'll see what they have is rare. They have time, presence, ritual. They talk without rushing. They sit without fidgeting. They know how to be still, how to be grateful, how to make meaning out of the mundane. In these communities, craftsmanship still matters. A hand-carved spoon, a home-built table, a well-worn coat repaired for the 10th time. These aren't just things, they're symbols of patience, of permanence, of love. And what's beautiful is, this way of living isn't locked behind some ancient gate. It's not about going off-grid or becoming a monk. You don't need to abandon the modern world to live this way. You just have to stop letting it dictate every part of your life. Slowness is a choice, one you can make right now. You can choose to stop rushing meals, to stop multitasking every moment, to sit with your thoughts, to write instead of scroll, to walk instead of drive, to ask deeper questions instead of chasing quicker answers. This isn't rebellion with fire and fury. It's quiet, intentional. But make no mistake, it's powerful. In a world that profits from your distraction, choosing presence is an act of defiance. This quiet uprising isn't just about going slower, it's about going deeper. And in doing so, discovering that the life you've been rushing toward might already be right under your feet. In conclusion, you don't need to escape the world. Just stop letting it consume you. Because the truth is, the world isn't your enemy. The noise, the speed, the pressure, they're just symptoms of a system that forgot what it means to be human. A system that measures success in numbers, not moments. That tells you happiness comes in packages, not presents. That worships speed, convenience and accumulation over depth, effort and care. But you have a choice. You always did. You can pause, you can breathe, you can decide that your life won't be defined by your inbox, your shopping cart, your follower count, or your possessions. You can reclaim the joy of slowness, the art of noticing, the peace of being instead of always doing, because real wealth isn't measured in how much you own. It's in how fully you live. It's in the long conversations that don't need to be recorded, the meals you cook slowly, the moments of stillness that no one else sees but stay with you forever. It's in the relationships you build, the memories you shape, and the inner world you nurture. Simplicity isn't lack, it's clarity. It's knowing what matters and letting go of what doesn't. It's the decision to stop drowning in noise and start listening again. To your thoughts, your body, your people, your life, and presence. Presence is the greatest luxury we can give ourselves. It costs nothing, but it gives everything. So here's the invitation. What would life feel like if you stopped chasing and just started living? Not tomorrow, not when you reach some goal or buy something, but today, with what you already have, with who you already are. Maybe the life you're seeking isn't somewhere out there. Maybe it's been waiting for you to slow down long enough to notice. Let this be your reminder. You don't need to do more. You just need to be here, fully. And that's where the freedom begins.